How do you handle it when you're working on a commercial real estate transaction and your land title company is throwing your boundary surveyor under the bus? Or vice versa, your boundary surveyor is throwing your land title company under the bus. So it could go either way. What do you do? If you're the real estate broker or you're the client, the buyer, the seller, and you're trying to close this transaction, and you got the land title company and the boundary surveyor point fingers at each other, how do you solve that problem? So before I give you the answer to that question, let me tell you a story. This happened a few months ago just to illustrate what can happen. So we were working on an Alta survey, a land title survey of a commercial parcel. It was up in Stockton, my hometown, and it was an older parcel. There was no filed survey. The parcel didn't have any monuments set, and we did a ton of work on this. So the client needed a 5-day turnaround. I put 6 people out in the field. We did a ton of work. We found, a half a dozen monuments on neighboring parcels. We went through all the records, put this boundary together. Turns out there was a pretty bad building encroachment. Some buildings were over at least a few feet on one of the parcel boundaries. We put together this really, really good 6-sheet land title survey. The survey included a ton of notes. We identified all the found monuments, all the areas we searched for but didn't find monuments. I had notes there on the boundary resolution. I had notes on all the adjoining deeds. We had notes about the physical occupation. We put together a really good survey. I was really proud of the product, especially for the fact that we were able to put that together in 5 days, meet the client's deadline. So we get all that work done. We get the survey shipped over to the client, the attorneys, the title company, and the lender. And we're waiting on the title company to approve the survey and issue the title insurance policy. And we're waiting and we're waiting. 1 day goes by, 2 days goes by, 3 days goes by. Finally, the client rattles the title company's cage and says, "Hey, what's going on? We haven't heard from you guys." So here's what the title company said. The title company responds to the client and says, and this was via an email to the whole team, everybody involved in the transaction. They said, "We're not confident in Landen's boundary resolution of the parcels. We have some serious questions about the survey, and we're not going to be able to issue the title policy until we get those questions answered." Now, when I saw that response, and again, it went out to the whole project team. I was seriously floored. I was pretty fired up, right? We had done a really good job on the survey, and I hadn't heard a peep out of anybody that there were any issues with the survey. And by this time, they'd had the survey for 3 or 4 days probably, right? And so I really felt like in this case, the title company was just stalling for time, right? And so they were trying to make the survey an issue because it would buy them some time. And so I was really proud of what the client did in this situation. He said, "All right, thanks title company for that feedback. Hey, Landen's copied on this email. Maybe we all need to get together and get on a phone call and figure out what's going on so we can get this transaction moving forward." So I replied to that email from the owner and copied the title company on and said, "Hey, in my opinion, we have an excellent boundary survey here. I provided all of the information that the title company needs to understand how I put the boundary together, including these items, 1, 2, 3, 4. I gave them a bulleted list. I said, if there are specific questions about the boundary resolution, I am more than happy to answer those questions. Get me a list. Get me a list of specific questions about the boundary resolution, and I will answer those questions in writing. Or if it's easier, we can jump on a phone call. I want the owner there. I want the title company there. I want the lender there. And we can have this conversation." I said, if it helps, have the lender or the title company get a surveyor, their surveyor, on the phone so that surveyor can ask me questions. I said, I don't want my survey to hold up the transaction. If there's issues, let's get them identified so I can get them fixed. So what happened? We didn't get an answer. There was no reply from the title company. And I think it wasn't that same day or the next day, but maybe 2 days later, they sent us an email saying, "Hey, the survey's been approved and we're ready to issue title insurance on the loan." Okay, so why did that happen? I don't think there was ever a real problem with the survey. I think the title company was throwing me under the bus to play for time. It's not the first time that's happened. It happens. Why? Why does it happen? Okay, so the main reason is land title companies are under a lot of pressure. Right now, the real estate market is still pretty hot, and they've got a ton of work to do, and they're understaffed and overworked, right? And so they're feeling pressure from the client to wrap the transaction up. And in a move of desperation, they will attempt to throw the surveyor under the bus, right? And I want to be fair to title companies here. There are times when a surveyor will do that. So the surveyor's overcommitted, they can't meet the deadline that they promised the client, and so they will cook up, reasons why the title company's not giving them the documents they need, or there's problems with the title report. So it goes both ways. So that's why it happens, right? Somebody's looking for a scapegoat. Either the land title company's trying to make the survey company a scapegoat, or the survey company's trying to make the land title company a scapegoat. In either situation, you're not solving the problem, which is the real estate transaction needs to close. So if you are the real estate broker or the landowner or the buyer or the seller or the bank in this situation, and you got a land title company and a boundary surveyor that are pointing fingers at each other, what can you do? Well, in this case, the client, my client, the property owner did a really good thing. And that was he got everybody involved, right? He just got us all looped in on the same email thread and said, hey, looks like we've got some unresolved issues. Let's get together, figure out what the problem is, and get it solved. And I think that was his way of saying, hey, I'm not going to put up with finger pointing and backbiting. Like this is going to be open discussion with all parties at the table. And if I don't want people calling me to point fingers, on private phone calls. Like this needs to be handled as a team. And that was great. That really made my job easier, made my response easier. So get everybody on a phone call or on an email thread, and you don't have to be hostile. You just say, hey, there's been some questions raised. What do we got to do as a team to work through this? So that was great. The other thing you can do is just ask for the reasons for the delay, right? And you can just be specific. Title company, what's holding this up? Why haven't you approved the survey, right? Or land surveyor, what's holding you up? Why isn't the survey completed for lender review, right? Just ask that question, be specific. I need to know what the specific reasons are for the delay, okay? And then when you get answers, require specifics from either the title company or the surveyor. So if the boundary surveyor replies to you and says, well, the title company is not doing their job, that's why we're not done, that's not a good answer. What do you mean the title company isn't doing their job? Be specific. Well, we need these 3 easement deeds before we can finish the survey. All right, that's specific. That's something the title company can take action on, right? Same thing applies to the title company. If the title company tells you, client, well, we can't approve the survey because there's issues with the survey. Okay, that's not a good answer, right? I, as the boundary surveyor, there's nothing specific there I can take action on. If they reply to you and say, well, we have some concerns about the way the surveyor resolved the west line of the west boundary of the parcel, we think there may be an alternative position for that line that the survey hasn't addressed, or hey, we're a little concerned that the surveyor showed a building encroachment on the north boundary of the parcel that wasn't shown on the previous survey. We don't understand why why an encroachment is being shown now. See, those are specific questions I can respond to, right? We can take action on that and get the problem resolved. So get everybody on the same thread or in the same conversation. Require specific feedback. Don't take vague general answers, and then require people to provide you with timetables. So for example, if the surveyor says, hey, I can't finish my survey because I don't have what I need from the title company, I need these 3 easement deeds, then here's what you say as a client. You go back to the title company, you say, how long to get Landen those 3 easement deeds? All right, client, we need 2 days. All right, great. Then you go back to the surveyor, you say, surveyor, the client said they can get you those easement deeds within 2 days. How long after you receive the easement deeds from the title company do you need to finish the survey? I need 3 days after I get the easement deeds. All right, now you know you're 5 days out from an approved survey at least, right? But you've got some timetables you can hold people accountable to. If the title company gets the surveyor the deeds in 2 days like they promised, and then it takes the surveyor 6 days to finish the survey instead of 3, you know who to fire, right? You don't fire the title company, you fire the surveyor, or vice versa, right? So unfortunately, when you're in an overheated market and everybody's super busy, title companies and land surveyors will drop the ball and delay commercial real estate transactions. What do you do if you're in a situation where the land title company is throwing the surveyor under the bus, or the surveyor is pointing the finger at the title company? Get everybody involved in the same conversation, require specific feedback, and then get timetables and hold people accountable to those.